should do it. Checkmate.
从职业摔跤手转型成一个好莱坞电影明星，对这种转变你是怎么看的？
我不想改变我的工作，因为我最喜欢这个领域。
Hey Cena, they need you back on set.
哇，John Cena 真是无所不能。
好，谢谢。
谢谢您。
Hey, John Cena.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jay Wenger. I'm the director of polio at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
You know one thing I don't know a lot about? Polio eradication.
Yeah, polio is a bad disease that has been paralyzing and killing kids for thousands of years. Fortunately, we have some vaccines now that we've been able to use to drive this virus to the edge of extinction.
So there's no cure, but the vaccines prevent the disease.
That's right. Once you get paralyzed with polio, there's nothing that a doctor can do to fix that paralysis. However, we can prevent kids from ever getting infected in the first place by making sure that every child gets the polio vaccine.
With the help of the vaccine, we could possibly eradicate polio from the entire world.
That's right. We've driven polio now to the smallest populations ever, just a handful of cases in 3 countries in the world. Once we finish there, we win. But if we don't take advantage of that opportunity now, the virus could crawl out and reinfect other places again.
Doctor.
Cut.
Donate to Rotary and learn more at endpolio.org.
Hey, thank you for coming to the Rotary Club of San Dimas meeting for October 21st, 2020. My name is Raymond Foster. I'm the past president of the San Dimas Rotary Club and the president-elect. Our president will not be here today, so I'm running both the board as well as the meeting. So it's going to be really confusing and a little bit slow to go. So we got a big meeting, and our theme is international service. And we have been fortunate this month to visit the countries of the continents of Africa, and we've also been to India. And now we're going to be shooting over the Middle East, and we're going to be talking to a Rotary Club president in Lebanon. So it's been quite a tour. It's been very, very cool, very informative. So let's move forward now. Mike is not in. He's scheduled to do the Pledge of Allegiance, but I think I can share that with you if I can remember the Pledge of Allegiance as I do all this stuff. Please join me in pledging allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, now we're going to go over to Casey Cox for our invocation. Casey, what words do you have for us today?
What words? Let's take a breath. Pray with me. Lord, we thank you for an opportunity to be reminded of our gifts, of our talents and our abilities. And we thank you that the entire world is full of resource. Lord, in this moment, as we gather as the Rotary, would we recognize the resource in each one of us, and would we multiply it by encouragement, by sharing ideas, and then taking action to change the world today. We thank you for the opportunity it is to lift others up, to encourage, and to be thankful and grateful in all things. May we do this well. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, Casey. And of course, today we have a full meeting. We'll have our speaker in a moment. We've got a fast craft talk from Justin Leewood. Our fine master, Casey Cox, will check in, and he's also doing the Action 360. Now, four-way test says open, but I've got a surprise for Steve Scott. I've got something that's going to drive Steve Scott up the wall, and I'm excited about doing it. I cannot wait till we get to the close of the meeting. But before we do that, let's go around the spokes of the wheel and talk to all the Rotarians and our visitors who aren't Rotarians and see what's going on. Greg Pilato, you're first up. Tell us who you are, why you're here.
I'm Greg Pilato. I'm a Rotarian in Laverne. I love coming to San Dimas as well. I'm running for the board, so I'm trying to get to know everyone I can, and excited about hearing from you, Hagop.
Okay, over to Casey Cox.
My name's Casey Cox. I'm a health coach. My business is called Lead to Freedom. Transform lives one healthy habit at a time. Past president, happy to be in the Rotary, continue to be a community collaborator.
Steve Scott.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Steve Scott. I am a 3-time past president, current treasurer of the club, and I am a State Farm agent in San Dimas.
Awesome. And let's move over to Justin Leewood. We will have you at the Fast Craft Talk, buddy. We're going to give you like a full 5 minutes, so we'll save your introduction. Let's go to Nicholas. Hey, Nicholas from Jackson, California.
Hey, how's it going? Nicholas Domingo here. Been a Rotarian now for about 5 years, going on 5 years. And Twain Harte Rotary was the original club. We moved to Jackson, and so I stayed within District 5220 as I'm trying to join another club in Salida. I run the nonprofit, oh, there goes my alarm. Run the nonprofit Captain Encouragement, teaching kids about teamwork, leadership, and anti-bullying, and partner with a lot of other nonprofits and organizations to shift change, especially in my generation and the generations that follow. And that's my obsession, my mission, and I'm excited to join you today for your leadership and all the great work that you're doing in the community. So thank you for the invite and allowing me to be part of it.
And Justin will be one of our speakers in December, so I think he's checking in very early to get a kind of a roadmap of what's going on. We've been joined by Mike Wallace, who's on some kind of crazy alias. Hey, Mike, what's up with you today? Say hello.
Hi, everyone. Mike Wallace, Better Home Financial in San Dimas, proud Rotarian of the last 5 years, 5 or 6 years, past president, and happy to be here. Sorry I was running a little late, but here now.
Excellent. And finally, last but not least, Mary Ann and Terry Kistler. Come on, Mary Ann, you got to unmute. Unmute. She's panicked. Well, I'll tell you that Mary Ann is a retired banker. She is a longtime Rotarian. She is, in fact, I believe, our senior member now. She is also a past president. And Mary Ann is a driving force in this club. You do not want to mess with Mary Ann, and you do not want to mess with Rotary. And she is number, and I think her biggest thing is she's a champion of the foundation. She's a 5 or 6 time Paul Harris Fellow, and she's a continuing giving person. So welcome, Mary Ann. And when you find that mute button, you pop right in. So let's move forward now and let's get our speakers on, because this is really going to be an interesting talk tonight. Our speakers, we have 2, and they're going to kind of co-do this. Hagop.
Yeah, that's hi.
He's a computer science graduate from American University of Beirut, a holder of an MBA at ESCP and the Leaders Circle at ESA. I translated the French because I did not want to murder that. He leads Thank you. He leads a 3rd generation family business in automation and security, and has always been keen at extending the horizons of his business by integrating technology and digitalization, having been a pioneer in his projects in both fields. He considers himself lucky to have been elected president of his Rotary Club at a time of Lebanon's most need. And he is joined by Rita Ahmad. Now, Rita has an education in business management and digital marketing. She's the owner's representative in a medical company and the owner and founder of an online boutique. She is a digital marketing specialist. She's the current president of Rotary Club of Mentgate. Please correct me however I said that. And the past president in 2018 of the Rotary Club of Beirut Cosmopolitan, which she joined in 2011. Hey, welcome to San Dimas, California, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for hosting us.
It's your show, Hagop.
Yeah, so I think what I got to do is this, and then, where's the? There you go. Can you see it?
Excellent. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So basically, first of all, I would like to thank you for having us. I'm the president of our Rotary Club. I'm a Rotarian I've been for 10 years, around 10 years, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And this is my first year as president in a club. We have a very dynamic and very vibrant club, but the situation in Lebanon made it even more vibrant, I would say. The presentation that we're going to show you and what we would like to tell you about is what, as Rotarians, we've been doing in this country since the explosion happened, and how we're trying to get to the needs of the families and try to help them and support them, because we are in very challenging days. But before even starting with the presentation, I just need to take you back a year from now. A year ago, we were having fuel problems, electricity problems, and so on. And the country went through some sort of a revolution. So there were protests, and well, it froze the entire operational system of the country.
What did you do?
Economy, got kind of,
Oh, no.
so the economy was frozen. The banks started doing capital control to forbid people of taking their money out. And then we had, so it was very challenging for the businesses. Then we had the COVID that hit us. It didn't spare Lebanon, which made everything really very, very, very challenging in Lebanon. And then we had the explosion in the harbor of Beirut. So this picture, I think, I don't know if you've seen it. Many people have seen it. It has been quite a lot outside into the media. This is the place where the explosion happened. Actually, the explosion happened like a few meters away from these silos. And these are the silos that were containing the grain reserves of the country that went goodbye, as we can see written on the wall, when the explosion happened. The explosion was the result of 2,700 tons of nitrate ammoniate that was carried on this ship that was parked in Lebanon. And for legal reasons, this material was supposed to be going somewhere to Africa. The ship had a problem. They stopped in Beirut. And then for years, then that explosive product remained in Beirut in the harbor, because actually for some legal reasons, there were the ship sank or something happened, and the government had kept that until we don't know what happened, what triggered the explosion, but the explosion that happened really was huge. My office is in the 15 miles radius. I felt an earthquake. The glass broke all around me. Within a shorter radius, there has been a very heavy damage. And in the area that is nearby the blast, I would say, like the hot area, the red area, the destruction there that you would witness is worse than the destruction that we had witnessed in Lebanon after 30 years of war. But the thing is that this time it happened in a few seconds, and this gives you a little bit a feeling about the intensity of the explosion. It has been said that it was the third largest explosion that has ever happened in an inhabited areas in the world, in the history of humanity. That night, my cousins who live in Cyprus, which is 215 kilometers away, so that's, I think, 160 miles or something, maybe, if I'm right in the map, they called me that night and they asked me what exactly is happening in Beirut, because they felt an earthquake in Cyprus. We had very beautiful houses from the very old buildings, like those buildings that you can see. Those are buildings that have witnessed actually a lot of things and civil war and damages and explosions and everything in Lebanon, but it wasn't like this. The damage this time was really hard. Now, we are people of action, so we act. We want to see what to do in order to help the people. And in our club, our main point of focus had been the fight for hunger. We'll see about it in the next slide. It's about the food box. But we're also very keen on education. And after the explosion, we started like a fund for the disaster relief. And that was mainly to help people get back to their houses. And we're focusing pretty much on the health. The hospitals, there are 6 major hospitals, that are in the area of the blast. And some of them were really very close, like less than half a mile away. And those really need a lot of help, so we're trying to help them. Now, the Food Box program is a program we started back in October 2019. We started it last year when we were aware that around 50% of the population was below poverty line. Today, after all the challenges that we are facing, as I was telling you earlier, there is a capital control that is ongoing in Lebanon from the banks that are not allowing people to get their money. And there has been a devaluation of the currency, a very harsh devaluation of the currency. So people that were barely working and barely being able to meet the ends of the month, now they find themselves most often without jobs because the economy is completely flat. And whatever reserves they had, financial reserves, are worth by far less than when it was because of the inflation. It's like a hyperinflation. So it is estimated that 65% of the population in Lebanon is going to be below poverty line. Now, of course, when the explosion happened, we focused very much on helping the people that are in the affected area through our Feed the Hungry program, the food box program. The thing about what we do is that we have digitalized the food box tracking to provide full transparency to all our donors, that anything that we are delivering is fully traced. And we have met really beautiful souls in Beirut. We have been to houses, and when I say we, I'm talking about the Rotarians that are delivering those boxes. We've been to beautiful houses while distributing those food boxes. So this program is a program that goes over all of Lebanon. It's a program that is in collaboration with all the clubs in Lebanon. We are 28 clubs, 28 of the clubs take part of this. And it's in a very close cooperation with the Rotary actors. And we are keen on also reaching the phase where we work with all the Rotary actors in Lebanon. We also need the support of NGOs because it's not enough to really meet everyone. So in order to be able to reach places where Rotarians can't go, we also do a lot of cooperations with NGOs who are registered official NGOs, and they are enrolled with us in the program. This is really a beautiful experience that takes us every time to meet people, and this is really, it's like Rotary actors are on the ground in this. It's a project where we've invested heavily in the past year. In September only, we've distributed enough food boxes to be able to provide supplies to cook up to 79,410 meals, to be accurate in the number. And if we do the extrapolation on a yearly basis, that's almost 1 million meals on a yearly basis. So 28 Rotary clubs out of 28 are with us, 12 Rotaract clubs to date, but this number is going up higher and higher. We're covering all of Lebanon. There is, of course, a focus on Beirut after the explosion, but we try to be all around. Now, when the explosion happened on August 4th, we've had more than 200 deceased. This number has to be updated. Unfortunately, the number of deceased from the blast has increased in the past few days. 6,500 people were injured in that explosion. Property loss is estimated at $4.7 billion. 300,000 people, as we mentioned, have been homeless. So what our club has been doing is, in cooperation with other clubs, is to distribute stuff that people would need in their houses in order to be able to survive. Because within the radius of the explosion, most of the houses ended up being, most of the building ended up being empty shells. The windows and the doors were blown away. But eventually, people that had their goods and their assets in the house, which whatever wasn't broken, because TVs and computers were all broken, but their clothes, their whatever they own, and many of these people couldn't go away, so they decided to stay because they were all scared of theft. Beirut became kind of a ghost town after the explosion, so obviously people would be scared that somebody would come into their houses, so they decided to stay. So what we did is distributing cooking stoves, portable ones. We distributed mattresses. We distributed battery-powered backup lights for the people to be able to have light at night. And we also were working with supporting the kids in their schooling needs. We did this with the collaboration of many clubs, and this is an ongoing project. So every time there's a new need, we try to see how to get the funds for it and then distribute them. Now, going to the houses, we have pushed further the cooperation we have with the NGOs. As I was telling you earlier, we have a good cooperation with many NGOs in the food box distribution program. And those NGOs started immediately tackling the rehabilitation of the houses, because one of the major things we thought of, and by the way, today was the first day of rain in Lebanon. It rained lightly, but today was the first rain. What we were concerned about was that many people that had their houses, that had no other place to go, that wanted to stay there, but didn't have windows and doors. So many of those people wanted to stay, but they couldn't, or it was challenging. And we had many cases where just the people would be like, please help us close our doors and windows. So we focused a lot on that. We did cooperation with NGOs. We are constantly providing them with support in order to go, first of all, on closing doors and windows. This will allow the people to have a decent home back and safe. The way we operate is very straightforward. So we have those NGOs we were mentioning that we know them quite well. We ask them to submit to us the files. We have in our club, we have architects and engineers that are certified actually for assessment of accidents that would happen for insurance companies. So those people get involved and they give us a good financial study whether the budget that is requested by the NGO makes sense or not. Then we look at the tenant and the person that are living in this house, and we look at their social situation. The social always overcomes the budget when we see that there is a challenging case, no matter what the budget is, like when you have, I don't know, elderly people living alone, their kids are not there, there is no one, or they had a death in the family because of the explosion and so on. We try to help those as a priority. So this is how we work with our NGOs. There is a lot that needs to be built. This building used to stand in Beirut for centuries, and because of the explosion, now it's gone. It's heartbreaking. Now, we also focused a lot on the population, not only their houses, but also seeing how we could help them. And our focus went directly on maternal and childcare. So we started a program with diapers and milk for babies, but also all the other material that we delivered, such as the mattresses and the cooking stove and so on, were in order to help those families. This is a typical picture of a beautiful distribution of diapers by the lovely team of the NGOs and the people that are on the ground that are voluntarily helping. And what we see in this picture is not just someone who's distributing actually diapers, it's a person that's giving love to those kids that really are in, I mean, the kids have witnessed something. There was a night, I'm gonna do small parentheses, this is not part of the presentation actually. There was a night where I was talking with a group of NGOs trying to see how we could help them and which approaches to take and so on. We did a lot of exchanges and ideas and going into different directions in order to meet the needs. So there was this NGO who's a specialist in psychological support for kids. And 2 cases they told me that really broke my heart. One of them is a kid that's saying to his parents, no, mommy, I don't want to go to grandpa's house because there's a monster at grandpa's house. Because the day of the blast, those kids were at their grandfather's house and they're refusing to go see their grandfathers now. Other cases is a kid that refuses to sleep in his room for the mere fact that there is a window in this room. So technically, those kids, they go like, they've been affected and they need a lot of help. So going back to the distribution of mattresses, and then we went into schools. In the schools, we've studied many cases. We've seen their cases. We've studied whatever they need, and we focused on the IT. The IT infrastructure is very important, especially with the COVID. So we focused on that, and we've already completed the project. We're on the edge of completing a second one. There are schools that need help. In the hospital level, on the medical level, we really focused on studying the cases of the hospitals, and we're working on issuing global grants. We have 2 major global grants in process for 2 hospitals, and we are also participating in different global grants that are done by other Rotary clubs in order to help properly. And I would like here just to pass the word to Rita, who can tell us more about her experience on the ground.
Good evening, everyone. It's Rita Imad, President of Rotary Club of Mettengate. I'm gonna talk to you as a family member, just the way we would tell the story to a friend or anyone who was asking us on a personal level what's going on. Actually, the night that the explosion happened, I was with the president working on a project, And then we left home urgently because we needed to get something from the supermarket, and the explosion happened while we were stuck in the traffic. So had it been that we've been still working at home, of course, to say the least, we would have been injured. Then there was this urgent need to leave Beirut, to leave all of Lebanon, because this sense of insecurity has been traumatic. The first night, we were all calling each other, making sure that we're just the people we know are still alive, because the material to talk about the materialistic stuff, we've been all our homes have been damaged. And then as presidents, we got busy working, thinking how we can take action and fix stuff. We didn't have the chance to mourn even, or to grasp the reality of the consequences that this explosion brought. Our first president's meeting, we divided the work according to our what we already, our occupations, or what we know best, because in order to save up time. So our club, given that we have so many members working in the medical field, we decided to take charge of the medical part. So the first action we took was calling the Ministry of Health and checking what is needed, and we got a list. This list, if you see it, is just the minimum needed in order to do the first aid procedures. It's all about consumables. It's like food for us people. The night of the explosion has been more like a horror story. The rooms were mainly, there was 5 hospitals that got directly damaged. And when I say directly damaged, it's when I'm talking about materialistic stuff, the glasses on the floor and the walls, and the people who were undergoing surgeries, and then they were injured, the doctors, the nurses. It was a horrible scene. And then all the injured people in that area were going there to those hospitals in order to get the first aid assistance. So those hospitals at some point had to tell people, just please find another hospital, because we're already full. The hospital's needs, it's been an uphill battle for several years now. To say the least, let's talk about the past 2 years. It's been hectic. It's been a maze, finding ways to pay suppliers, because we don't have local suppliers. So everything we buy, it's from abroad, and we need to pay in US dollars or euros. And as you may all know by now, between the revolution and the COVID and everything else, the banking sector has been suffering, and thus the medical field and the hospitals have been directly impacted by all those events. So as Rotarians, I believe that whatever we can do at this point, between the lists we're getting from the hospitals, we have a few now. President Hagop and I have been receiving lists, and in-kind donations or money, anything would be helpful at this point. That's what I wanted to share, President Hagop.
Thank you, Rita, for actually sharing you took me back to myself into the 4th of August and the 5th of August and the 6th of August, where we felt that we were zombies. we were zombies the first few days. It took us time to really understand what's happening. If I may, I'm gonna share again my screen, if you would allow me. I know we've been a bit maybe out of the time, so I'm try to accelerate. So this is the hospitals, and the donations that President Rita was talking about are these kind of donations that we receive sometimes from different Rotarians that through their network, they contact their hospitals in their areas and they go like, if you have any supplies that are in excess, please send them. And they're compiling the goods and sending them to us. We're parsing them and redistributing them to the hospitals. These are different distributions of different donations that we've been receiving and distributing. So we really are collaborating hand in hand. This year, we had a president's meeting yesterday in Lebanon, which was 2 days ago. And one of the most beautiful things that was said was that we really are acting, all presidents together, hand in hand, sharing our information and collaboration. What our club is doing next is the hot meals. The World Central Kitchen came to Lebanon, stayed in Lebanon for a month, from August 11th to September 11th. When they left on the last day, they were distributing 10,000 hot meals a day. We took it our responsibility as Rotarians to try to help with the solution. Our target is 10% of the needs. We're talking about $1 per meal meals. It's cooked in community kitchen with chefs that are helping, and we're covering the cost of the goods, and then taking care of the distribution to the NGOs who deliver hand in hand to the needy families, as you can see in those pictures. There you go. And this is the end of my presentation, and I would like to thank you so much for having listened to us.
We have time for 2 quick questions, and I know there's got to be at least one. I've got one. How do we help? How can financial donations, if we want to make one, what's the best way to do that?
Well, financial donations, I think ideally we have our sister Rotary Club, which is the LA Cedars, which is in the United States, in Los Angeles, and they provide a tax. There's the C305, 31 something. I don't know. There's something with tax reduction, so they have this facility, and then you just send them you can contact them there on Rotary Club LA Cedars. I can send it on the chat if I find it on Google quickly. So you can contact them and just make your donations if you'd like to help us in financial help. That would be great. That would be super great. And then you just tell us in which direction you would like to help. Is it medical? Is it food for the needy? Is it there are different programs, and we would love to get your help into the people.
Send me an email after we get off with the information of that Rotary Club, and I will take care of distributing that information and see what we can do. Is there another question? Another quick question?
Just in that same realm, those donations would be obviously go to the area in Los Angeles in US dollars. Would they go to you in US dollars as well?
Yes, we'll receive the money as it was in US dollars.
Excellent. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and we're going to move right along now to our Fast Craft Talk. Fast Craft Talk for us is we bring in a non-Rotarian, a business and or community leader, somebody to come in and talk about what they do and their passion. And we're pleased to have Justin Leewood with us today. Justin, tell us about yourself and what's your passion?
Well, first, thank you for the presentation from you guys. I don't know how I follow something like that. It's something that I think we all saw, happening here, and I don't even know. I can't even imagine what it was like to go through something like that. I mean, just understanding what it was and hearing the reports here was tough, and not even having to have a personal relationship with it, just knowing that it happened. So again, don't want to have to follow that, and I'm not real familiar with these Zooms. And in our industry, we still are very much face to face. A lot of people, if we're for, I guess what I do sales and leasing, commercial buildings, industrial buildings, office buildings, retail buildings. And in our business, even though everybody's kind of converted to Zoom and converted to working from home, they still want to see their building that they're going to lease or see their building that they're going to purchase and move their business into. And so, I mean, last week I was on a roof of a building where we needed to, decide if there was a shared wall or not. I mean, we really need to, most people want to be hands-on. So I haven't done a lot of these Zoom calls, but quick history. I grew up local. I grew up right here in Chino Hills, went to Cal Poly Pomona. Actually met the guy that I trained here underneath. He was an alumni of Cal Poly Pomona. He's actually a Rotarian for Glendora. and has been telling me that I need to get involved. And it's one of those things that's so easy to put off and say, yeah, I'm going to do that in a couple months. I'm going to look into that. I'm going to look into that. And so I told him I was going to be, joining the last couple meetings, and he was excited because his name's Todd Launchbaugh. He's worked in the area for 30 years. And so he's a Rotarian with Glendora, and that's how I met him. He was an alumni from Cal Poly. He brought me in here, and I've been here since 2007. Became a partner in this firm here, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. And mainly what we do is mostly industrial buildings, some office buildings. Obviously, office is pretty slow right now. But leasing for people that need to grow their business or want to purchase their own building to occupy with their business and have something to retire with later on, or investments, plenty of investments where they own the building and lease to other people, and that's their source of income. The only person I was a little surprised, just having worked in this area for 13 years, I thought I'd recognize more people on here, and I kind of feel bad that I don't, but Mike's the only one that I recognized. I've dealt with him, and in fact, I was saying I trained under Todd. The guy that he used to work with, or probably still works with to some degree, Wally actually trained my partner Todd back in late 80s, early 90s. And I've known Wally actually since college as well. He was an alumni of my fraternity, so I've known Wally for a long time as well. But Mike, you're the only one I've seen before, working with you and Tracy and stuff. But hope to work with many more of you in the future, or anybody else that that we could help with what we do, and hope to kind of check this out and get a little better understanding of it than just what I've heard, kind of offhand comments here and there. I'd kind of get a better understanding of it and see how I can get involved with the process.
Thank you very much, Justin. I'm going to tell you right now that I'm going to send you a membership form, and our digital dues are $40 a month, and you can pop in at any time and be a part of Rotary, be a person of action. That'd be very cool. And we're going to move this meeting right along, and we're going to go to Casey Cox, the Fine Master.
Right, so people of action, we find ourselves for you guests this morning or this afternoon, and others. As a Rotarian, we recognize that we have to be moved into action, and so we actually choose to find ourselves to talk. We're going to tell each other what's fine, what's not fine, or we're going to tell somebody else that they're fine. That's how we look at our fines in this place. And so I'm going to open it up to our Rotarian members first. Would you like to find yourself and tell us what you want to talk about?
Well, I'll go first. Thanks, Casey. I will. I'm actually not going to fine myself, but I am going to make a donation to once we get the information for the Lebanon project. I'm going to make a donation of $100. And thank you for coming on today. That was a great presentation, and really appreciate it. But yes, I am fine, and go Dodgers.
You know what? I'm going to find myself, same with Mike. I'm going to send $100 to the Rotary Club as soon as we get it. And again, I'm going to find myself our Mookie Betts base running. It's worth $100 to watch that. Come on, Steve.
Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, sign me up for $100 as well. And I'm not going to find myself for a Dodger win because it just causes me too much stress. I don't need to find myself for more stress in my life.
Thank you so much for the support.
I think the $300 is really just a seed money for us to really go out and do something bigger. I'm going to join in the concept. I'm not going to pony up my $100 yet. I'm going to pony up the fact that I have relationships with people that can give a lot more. And so I'm going to charge our Rotary to look at how can we invite other people to watch this video and to recognize what we're doing globally, and really let's set a window where we can really reach out to another 100 people and see if we can't multiply what comes in. So I'm going to find myself, if I don't reach enough people to put, I want to reach 5 people that are going to put at least $500 in. And I'm going to find myself if that doesn't happen.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do is as soon as this is loaded up, I'll put it on the YouTube channel. Of course, it'll be in public television 4 times this week. With the YouTube channel, as soon as I get the information from Hagop, I will make sure that's down there for where the money should go, so we can get this done in the next hour or so, get it moving. And everybody should forward that link at least 5 times. I agree, 100%, including you,
Might
Nick.
actually do that.
All right, so we got to move on. We're out of that Action 360. We're going to turn it back over to you, and you got to hustle it up there, Casey.
Back to me. Well, what we're actually doing today, I love it. Our 2 speakers have embodied this. We're going to talk about change. In an Action 360 lens, we're looking at the whole roundabout circle of how does change happen and what is the action. And the reality is the reason why action doesn't happen is because people are either stuck in the past or they're stuck in the future. And action takes place in the present moment. When you talk about the action that you're looking to have, but you're stuck in the past, you're living into an excuse. You're living into reasons. You're telling stories about, oh, remember when we used to do this? And as a Rotarian, it's easy for us to get stuck there to talk about our past projects or what we once did, and we're actually not doing anything. We're just reliving it, what used to happen. Or what we get done is we start talking about, hey, we should make donations to Lebanon. We should do something, and we're living in the future as if it's a real thing. And again, no change is going to happen. And that's why our fine structure is different. We immediately go in there and we find ourselves, because the action of the 360 being your past, your present, and your future, is all connected. And this is what I want to bring to us this morning. It's right to connect it all, but you have to bring action into the present tense. And that present tense action is based on your identity. And I want to highlight that with just an understanding of how we look at ourselves as Rotarians. Your Rotarian identity is actually based in the past. Rotarians have a story. Rotarians have an identity that's all rooted in what once happened. And Rotarians happen in the future as well. We're going to eradicate polio. But what have we done about it? We're going to make a difference in the world, but what is it? So we bring it into this place, and this is what we all just kind of highlighted. We are people of action. And what I want to empower you to do this morning in your Action 360 is to make a declaration about yourself that isn't rooted in the past and it isn't placed in the future, but it's today. And to simply say, I am a person of action. Okay. If you say I'm a Rotarian, you're rooted in the past, and that's a great identity, but it doesn't mean you're going to do anything about it. Think of all the people who might wear a lapel pin and no longer act as Rotarians. But they got the identity, but no. Think about all the people who say, I'm going to do something. Justin, I'm picking on you now because you shared this in the message. Hey, I've been thinking about joining a Rotarian group or doing something, and how that's a future action as you identified it. We're going to bring it into the present. We're going to say, I'm a man of action, and I'm committed to the Rotarian Club of San Dimas or other place where you move that into an active state. So Action 360 motion for us all, bring it into the present moment, because that's who you are. The past tells the story about what happened. The future tells the story about how you're going to make a difference, but who you are is where you impact the world, and who you are happens in a declaration of truth. So my encouragement for all of us, declare it. And then, as we just heard the Beirut story, the past is redefined in a moment. The explosion redefines a present tense for how things go forward. There's a whole lot of history there, but now there's a new motion. So don't wait for crisis to hit you, because when it does, it redefines you anyway. Choose to have a vision and action plan in the moment today. So that's our Action 360. Declare truth over you, be a person of action, and live in the now.
Very awesome. Thank you very much, Casey. Hey, let's look at the calendar real quick. October 28th, next Wednesday, that is Club Assembly. That's going to be a 90-minute meeting. That's going to look at what we've done this last 6 months as we've morphed into this virtual club. What have we done well? What can we do better? We need to pick it apart. And then we're going to take the next 45 minutes and chart the future. And really, not just the end of Diva's year, but we've got to look forward 18 months. I want to talk about what we're going to do during my year as president. And so be there. This is a very important discussion. Every voice needs to be heard. We have begun the fundraiser, www.supportrotarians.com. That URL defaults to the C's Candy website. We've got Azusa, Laverne, Glendora, and San Dimas Rotary working together. And half of the profits from that go to foundation. And so that's beginning to get out there. We've already made our first few sales via that. forward that link around, and there's a Facebook event accompanying with that. So let's keep that going. So I think it's going to be a great fundraiser. November 4th is our virtual, that's our first meeting in November. Casey will be coming in and giving us a real in-depth look at the virtual run that the Ed Foundation is going to be conducting. On November 8th is our warm winter coat drive. Holy moly. We got lots of stuff going on with this. We've got 500 door hangers that we're going to put out on November 1st on Sunday. So I need walkers to be over at the Masonic Lodge. And of course, we're working with the Masonic Lodge and the Rotary Club and the George Washington chapter of Dimas. This has gone out to every student in the school district. It's gone out through the chamber. And so it's had wide distribution, and I think we're going to have a lot of people there. Hey, Greg, I don't know, you sometimes get pulled away. Any thoughts on this? Because you're one of our co-chairs.
It's going to be a lot bigger than I think we expect. I got people already dropping off coats at my house. I see other people trying to collect also who don't really have much relation. We shared it on Facebook. It's getting shared and shared by those people. It's kind of a webbing out there. So I think it's going to be a lot bigger than we initially anticipated. So good luck shipping all this.
I sent the flyer out to you, or the trifold brochure. That brochure with the, you know, your tax information on the outside, and it has a little Rotary story and a whole thing in it. Take a look at that. I need your approval. I'm waiting for 4 more to come back because that goes to the printer, and a Mason has put up $300 to print those out. So we should be able to put out 300 of those into the community. And also we've got another source we're working on for shipping funds, because I'm afraid $600 may not be enough. By the way, kudos to Steve Scott for a successful match grant with the district on that project. Excellent, Steve. Thank you so much. Continuing, November 11th, our speaker will be a victims advocate from the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office. I'm pretty familiar with this person, as you know. That'd be my wife. And then that's going to be followed by the San Dimas Search and Rescue. And then we have Nicholas Domingo is going to join us as our first meeting in December with the Captain Encouragement Project. He's on here with us today. So that should be really, really kind of cool. Have I missed anything on the calendar that I need to talk about? I have not. All right, so here is the 4-way test. It's open today, and this is for Steve.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build good? Will it better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? When we pay it forward, it will be returned. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build good? Will it better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? When we pay it forward, it will be returned. When we pay it forward, it will be returned.
That's wonderful. All right, so
wow.
Raymond, you got to give a second for Steve to reply.
I'm going to find myself because I'm not fine.
Hey, so let's close the meeting, go around the room. Mike Wallace, any final thoughts?
Just that winter coat drive. Those are going to one of the coldest places in the continental U.S. Where there are many people who cannot afford winter clothing. 50 days a year, sub-zero temperatures, and there is a great need. So if you have lightly used warm winter coats, hats, gloves, bring them by the Masonic Lodge on November 8th between, is it 12 and 5?
Yes, 12 to 5.
12 to 5, and we can definitely put them to some good use.
You know, that's an excellent point, Steve. We're shipping this clothing, coats, scarves, mittens, hats, to Williston, North Dakota. So we are sending this across country to people who really need. Casey, final thoughts.
Just a huge shout out and thank you to Hagop and Rita for giving us just their hearts. I really, really appreciate the personal sentiment you brought to the presentation today. It was beautiful, wonderful, and reminded us of the reality that you're living with every day. So thank you.
And going over to Greg, got any final thoughts, Greg?
No, thank you. That was very informative. Thank you, Hagop. I listened to Garbus in Laverne he does another great presentation on that. So it's great to see all this going on.
Steve Scott, final thoughts.
I'm just sitting here thinking about kind of the depth and how the reach of Rotary. We have amazing guests on from the Middle East. We're doing a coat drive that's helping people in North Dakota with this small little club in San Dimas. This is what Rotary does. We are truly people of action. Super proud of the involvement that we have gotten ourselves into, and even more excited about what the future looks like for our club.
You know, Steve, and I always remind people that this club was recognized by Rotary International as one of the top 10 polio contributors in all the world. There's like 9 of us, and we've inoculated 250,000 people, and that's so awesome. Terry Kistler, hey, can you unmute yourself and say something?
Why should I say something? I'm not in your club, but I enjoyed it listening to you guys that speaks from Lebanon. It kind of puts a coffin or nail in a coffin when something like that happens. But we sure got to get through it.
Thank you, Terry. Hey, Derek, any final thoughts?
It was an amazing meeting. Thank you for inviting me. And yeah, I was definitely moved by the presentations. Thanks for the invite.
Hey, Justin, you're on the hot seat here. Final thoughts, buddy? If you could find that unmute button, it'd be helpful.
Good call. So, thanks again for the invite, and thanks again to the presenters for, like you said, kind of bringing that personal attention to this. I don't really like getting stuff on the news. You don't get as much out of it, but seeing you guys talk about something you personally went through has a lot more effect, and I'm interested in getting that link and helping out however we can as well.
Thank you so much. Nicholas, are you on there, buddy? Anything
Raymond, I'm sorry, just piggybacking on what Justin just said. If you're watching this on public access, check our Facebook page, the San Dimas Rotary Facebook page, and we'll put a link to where donations can be sent to help our presenters for today.
Awesome. Thank you so much for saying that, Mike. I appreciate that, because we are reaching people on public television. And let's see, we'll go to Rita, and then we'll go to Hagop for the final thoughts. Rita, anything from you?
First, I would like to thank you for having us again. It goes without saying that we are a family, and how close is this family is defined by what we say and how we treat each other. And so thank you for asking us what's wrong, and then waiting for the answer, and then doing something about it.
Cool. Nicholas,
Thank you so
much. Flash back. You got something to say, buddy?
I'm always inspired, and this is like, you guys are doing amazing work. Like listening to everything that's happening, it's crazy to see such love and attention and such fire and passion. Like I'm like in this little room right now. I'm like, I got to get this energy out. You know, there's so many things. You guys are doing so much great work, and it's inspiring. And I really hope, you guys get more members, and I hope for the work you guys are doing in Lebanon, if there's anything that we can do through our nonprofit, I'd love to help out.
I'll send you the link. Hey, Marianne, you got anything to say before we go?
Yes. I want to say thank you very much to the presenters today. It was a wonderful program, and Rotary does wonderful things around the world. And Raymond, most of all, thank you to you for bringing this program to us. You are truly a Rotarian.
Well, now that's high praise, Marianne. Thank you so much. And I'm going to go final thoughts to Hagop. A great presentation. What do you got for us, brother?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you, Raymond, for the invitation, and I would like to thank everyone that was in here. When I say in introducing myself that I'm lucky to be president in this year, it's the first time I'm president, and we've been facing so many different challenges. But being a Rotarian, being part of this beautiful family that has no boundaries, this network and the help and the push and everything, you might have been moved by the way I presented things, because I really expressed what I lived. But I'm 100% sure that whether it would be Mike or Casey or Derek or Raymond or Nicholas or Terry, and sorry, I'm not going to name everyone, but every single person in this room, if you had been through something like this, Rita and I would have been the first people to have done exactly what Raymond did. The magic of the Rotary, of serving above self, is really something I am blessed to be a president in this year, because I really got to know what this network is about. And I really want to thank you for all the help that you're giving to us. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And that concludes the Rotary meeting of San Dimas, California for the date of October 21st, 2020. Hey, you can find out more about us at www.sandimasrotary.org. And you can go to www.supportrotarians.com and help us in our endeavors to just do all kinds of good stuff. Thank you, everybody, and have a great week.